be talking with one of my favorite people on the planet, Susan Wornick. Susan, as many of you may know, was a mainstay on Boston television for more than 30 years, leveraging her unique brand and personality, helping tell thousands of important stories. In 1985, Susan made national headlines herself when she was held in contempt of court for refusing to name a confidential source who had provided information to her for a story that aired on Channel 5. She was sentenced to 3 months in jail, but ultimately avoided being incarcerated when her source voluntarily came forward, revealing themselves to the court. Weren't you lucky? Susan left the anchor desk in 2014. That was a great party, by the way, Susan. But is still very active in the Boston charity circuit. I will tell you, there is no better MC or live auctioneer in the game. I was one of Susan's producers for a few years, and I'm blessed to call her a friend and a mentor. Susan, quickly bring us up to speed. What are you up to?
I live full-time in Stuart, Florida, with my fiance, a wonderful guy from Middleton, whose name is Rich Reynolds. And a lot of people actually know him, Matt, because back in the years before you were born, probably, he was the lead singer of Richie and the Renegades, which was a very popular rock group in the Boston area. And we live here full time, and I still travel to Boston every chance I get for every charity event. And I'm still doing a little work in the marketplace, some public relations and marketing for smart people.
All right, Susan, I want to start back in the golden era of TV news. You were very fortunate to be a part of that. You had a wonderful career. Part of that with your partner, Bob Lobel, at the time. You two were a power couple in Boston, to say the very least. So the question is very simple. Was it as amazing as we all believe it was?
Yeah, no, it absolutely was totally amazing. And I just want to say, yeah, Bobby and I were married at the time. He was working at Channel 4. I was at Channel 5. A lot of people didn't realize we were married until we were divorced. And then we got more attention then. But we're still very, very good friends. But yes, it was amazing for a number of reasons. A huge one, there was very little ego when I look back on the time. We all worked together as a team, truly. And there was no real conversation about some of the things that I think people are concerned about today. For example, what you look like on TV. I think I might be a pretty good example of that. But we were devoted to getting the message across. You'd be fired if you gave your opinion, and your bosses, they not only supported you, but respected you and trusted you implicitly. And there was never any question about a bias or anything like the criticisms, the things that we hear criticisms about these days when it comes to media.
But it was, as I mentioned, you narrowly avoided jail time in 1985. You were protecting a source. What was your mindset during that whole ordeal? And did you ever consider saying, you know what, this is a job and I'm not going to go to jail for it?
No, first of all, no, it was never just a job, Matt, for any of us. It was our lives. So I never considered giving up the source for 1 minute, because that had everything to do with my integrity. And as a reporter, all you have is your integrity. So that, I was scared to death, is the truth. I mean, I was terrified of going to jail, not so much of being incarcerated in terms of the other inmates and that kind of stuff. Because listen, let's be honest, we knew that if I went to jail, the people running the jail knew that when I got out of jail, I would do stories about what was going on in the jail. So I was losing my freedom, you know? So the source did come forward on his own, identified himself, and happily the charges against me were dropped.
Did you have conversations with the source saying, hey, listen, it would be helpful if you came forward? Or did they just totally voluntarily come forward on their own?
No, there were no conversations. As a matter of fact, I think it would have been unethical at the time. I mean, once this became an issue that I was protecting him, all communication stopped. Scott, the witness, came forward. They arranged him to come forward to Newman Flanagan, who was then the DA. But it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, this is my hometown. Boston is my hometown, and I want to do everything I can to prove it. And that helped me to get the attention of a lot of the charities, you know, with which I'm still very closely connected.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've not been to an event where Susan is the MC or auctioneer, you've not truly experienced Boston yet. So. You did an auction for an event that I was associated with years ago, and I had gotten these tickets to Oprah to auction off. I don't know if you remember this. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was get 2 tickets to the Oprah show to auction off. And they're very explicit instructions from Harpo. You will not meet Oprah. It was bolded and underlined. And I remember you telling the audience, you will meet Oprah. You sold it, and then you sold 2 more, and you looked at me and you said, we can get 2 more very easily, right? And I said, no, we can't. You said, oh, I'll take care of it. And you did. So
we did.
It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life, but it took you about 3 seconds to get those extra tickets. So
I never said you will meet Oprah. I said, hey, you could meet Oprah.
You were and are a well-known quantity in this town. Was the fact that you were well-known, did it open doors for you, or could it hinder your ability to get stories?
It never hindered anything. It was a wonderful opportunity to use the media in all the right ways.
So, Susan, from your vantage point, what are the elements of a great TV news story?
Well, first of all, you got to get the facts clear, concisely, and correctly. I mean, that's where it all starts. Mm-hmm. And then you have to never lose sight of the human side of things. Yeah. There are so many times I'll see something to this day on television and think, why do I care about that? And if the reporter has been able to explain to me why I care about it, then the reporter has done their job.
I often tell clients, like, we can't just tell a story with, numbers and stats. We really do have to bring the human component to the front and make that very easy for reporters. During your time as a reporter, what do you wish the people who were pitching you stories knew?
I think that people should know that when you respond to them, you're responding to them honestly. Mm-hmm. And if it's not a story, it's just not. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they need to trust you.
I'm curious, can you recall a time that you were nervous or starstruck to conduct an interview?
I met Nelson Mandela. I didn't think I was going to be able to speak. I saw Mother Teresa from a distance. People like that were always just in idols. Yeah. Incredible that I would even be in the same space. And then
all right, so you and your co-anchors, anyone who watched knows that you had a lot of fun on the anchor desk. You took your jobs very seriously, but never yourselves.
I always felt that the news was very serious, but like you said, it was never about us. And if there was an opportunity to have a smile or have a laugh, then I took it. Yeah. And Jim Boyd, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, as I do every opportunity, the most wonderful human being. And how lucky was I to sit next to him on the anchor desk for so many years. Right. And Jim and I think we co-anchored for close to 25 years.
Wow.
And he was just wonderful. He sat there in constant fear that I was going to say something to put us both out of a job.
Okay, so in your opinion then, you're a news consumer then and now. What's the best thing happening in TV news these days?
Technology is wonderful. Yeah. Technology is both, there's 2 sides of technology. I love the fact that you can get something almost immediately from anywhere in the world.
Okay, let's wrap this up, Susan. Best TV reporter, hands down, you've ever seen do the job?
Martha Raddatz. Martha Raddatz all day. With the full disclosure, we're very close, but it's got nothing to do with how I respect her as a journalist.
On a light note, funniest moment on air that you can remember?
One. So Jim and I are on the anchor disc. It's the morning newscast, and we're saying, stay tuned, because coming up, Jim said, coming up, we're going to check the weather. And I looked at the script and I went, there's really not much coming up. Now might be a good time to take a shower.
Thank you.
I love you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This has been wonderful. I love you and everybody in Boston. I'm coming up soon. We got a couple of charity things happening. Yes. We'll let but keep up your great work, Matt. Truly, the world needs the doll.